Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are starting a new course with you, which is going to be devoted to planning your lessons. And well, let's talk about the contents of the course and what we are to expect in this course. Well, first of all, this is going to be learning about some, planning basics. Not exactly basics, because I have already informed you on some basic things on your second year of study when we were doing the second module of TKT course. This time it's going to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more complicated, because it's going to be a CELTA-based curriculum. Well, the second thing is that we are going to adapt the knowledge which we get from a CELTA course to the Russian planning standards, sort of GOS. And then we're going to write a plan, like a GOS-oriented plan, and then we're going to teach a lesson according to the plan that we have written. I'm going to observe you during the lesson. Probably you're going to be observed by your peers as well. And after you have taught your lesson, you're going to get some feedback on that. So here, steps number 4 and 5, they are going to be actually pragmatic and related to some actual teaching. Not a lot, a little bit, but still that would be, some pragmatic outcome of our course. Well, in general, that's it. That is what the course is about. It's not going to be as long as the TKT module, but anyway, I hope it would be useful for you and you'll get some practical knowledge out of that. Good. Well, let's get to start with the first unit, and that's going to be devoted to defining aims. I mean, before you actually start writing a plan of a lesson, it's really important to define what you expect to get out of your lesson as a result. So that's where aims come to stage. So we're going to be talking about them today. Well, and as a little warming up, I have a question to you. So here we have got some statements devoted to lesson aims, right? And I would like you to think about them. Well, let's have a look at them. Lesson aims are important because, and there are some reasons why lesson aims might be important for you as a teacher. Could you please order these lesson aims according to the importance, either to you personally as a teacher or just abstractly, to teaching process? So as the answer to this question, could you please text me a sequence of letters from the most important one to the least important one? And I would like you also to explain your rating, to explain why you have put them in a certain way. If you want to drop some letters out of the sequence, you're absolutely welcome, but you will have to explain why you're doing so. So the sequence and the explanation, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get going. Now, let's concentrate on the types of aims. You see, basically, what we're going to be doing on the course is supposed to be quite pragmatic and practical. There isn't going to be a lot of theory, because the theory, I believe, has already been given to you through the TKT course. And that's why it means mostly you are supposed to be carrying out some activities and tasks during the lecture. But of course, there will be some commentaries from my side, and that would, incorporate some revision of theory that you have learned, and probably there will be some new theoretical implications along the way. But the main thing is practice, and you'll be doing lots of things now. Okay, so is the first activity, the first activity I have for you here is this one. We will have 6 lesson aims, and 5 of these aims will relate to the same one in the same lesson. But the 6th one of them, is supposed to be belonging to a different kind of lesson. So which lesson aim is the odd one out? Well, have a look at this lesson aims and pick up one which does not belong to the sequence, which belongs to a different kind of lesson, whereas the other 5 would belong to the same lesson. Thank you. I guess you have made your choice. Now let me explain So I believe that the odd one out is C, because all the other aims, they are absolutely compatible to each other around the lesson where you are supposed to like teach your students how to like talk about past experiences, and like all of them are matching each other. Whereas C, like where the students will be able to express future plans and arrangements, looks like it comes from a different story, and that is actually true. So that's it. C is the odd one out. It doesn't belong to the lesson that the other aims belong to. Okay, but let's get into a little bit more detail about this aims, and let's get some analysis of the aims. Okay. Well, first of all, which two of these are actually communicative aims? Which of them are related to actual communication? Make your choice, please. It's great if you can explain, of course. Thank you very much. Okay, in my opinion, these two are the communicative aims, and actually both of them are also the main aims of the lessons, whereas all the other letters would represent like subsidiary aims to the class, to the lessons. These two would be the main aims. They would be like the outcome that you expect to have as the lesson ends. But of course, as B is the main aim of the lesson, which is connected to the other letters, letter C is the main aim of some other lesson, which is devoted to talking about future plans. Okay, let's go on. Which one of these is a developmental aim? By developmental, I mean your personal aim as a teacher. Like when you are planning your lesson, you kind of incorporate some sort of self-learning. You're going to like develop some of your professional skills by delivering this lesson. So that when you have finished this lesson, it's not only you have taught your students something, but you also have learned something from the viewpoint of teaching, you see? So which would be one of these developmental aims? Thank you. Okay, so this is E, to develop my grammar presentation skills. As a teacher, you may want to, if you feel that your grammar presentation is not good enough, you can write in your aims list that, okay, for this lesson, I'm going to try and to develop my grammar, like to explain my grammar better than usual. I'm trying to have some particular approach to that. So this is your developmental aim. Okay, let's keep going. Which one of this is an interpersonal aim? Interpersonal means the aim where you develop, you know, like social connections within your class. And the right answer is F, to build a good classroom dynamic. So this is about interpersonal things. Okay, next one. Which one of this is a linguistic aim? The aim where you develop your students' language. And that is A, of course, like present perfect, ever, never, purely linguistic thing. One more thing. Which one of this is a skills aim? Where you develop your students' skills, like, okay, skills. I know what to add here. Okay, probably you have already guessed that the remaining one is D. The learners will take part in an informal conversation. That is a skill, conversing. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, here we have a teacher's description of her lesson. Please read it. Try to remember the basic ideas of this like description of this lesson, because later I will switch it off and we'll go on to the task. So you will not be able to see it. Of course, you can come back and look at it again as you're doing the exercises. Okay, I hope you have read the description. Let's move on. So you will see several aims. You will need to choose the aim that best matches the description. It must be the main aim of this lesson. Have a look at them. Please pick up one which is the main aim of the lesson. Thank you very much. So E is going to be the main aim of this class, main aim of this lesson. Well, let's have a look why so, and let's have a look what's wrong with all the other aims that we have here. Okay, so what's wrong with the first one? Please give me your suggestions here, then I will tell you what I think. Thank you. Well, in my point of view, to do some speaking is just a little bit too vague, you know, like what sort of speaking, in what circumstances, who's going to be the participant of this speaking, just too general. Okay, how about this thing? Thank you. Well, this is sort of concrete, but it is not the main aim. So this is actually a subsidiary aim of this class, not the main aim. What do you think of this aim? Why is this not good? Thanks a lot. So in my opinion, again, it's just too general and it doesn't represent the main aim. You know, it's not the main aim of the class. And when I mean it's not, well, it's too general, I mean, again, practice writing. What sort of writing? Who is the addressee? What's the situation? There's no circumstances described here. So just too abstract. What's wrong with D? Looks pretty much like a good description of what's going to be happening, right? So what's the problem? Thank you. Well, the problem is that, yeah, really, this is a pretty much potted description of what will happen during the lesson, but this is not the aim. So this is the description of the procedure of the lesson, but that's not like what we expect to have as a result of the lesson, right? Compare it to E, and probably you'll see the difference. Okay, what is wrong with this one? Thank you. And again, too abstract, too vague. What sort of words? What are these words aiming at? And so on. And again, even if we consider there's some concrete words here, and even if we concretize that, it's just part of the story. It's a subsidiary aim. It's not the main aim. All righty. Going on. So we have a lesson description here, another lesson description. Let's have a look at that. Please, again, take time to read that. It might be important. Okay, hope that was enough time to read. Let's move on to the task. So here is a miniature of this text and my questions to you. So the first question is, what is the main aim of this lesson? Thank you. What is at least one subsidiary aim for this lesson? Thank you. Now could you pick up your main aim idea and your subsidiary aim idea and formulate both of them using the phrase like, by the end of the lesson, my students will have been able to, for example. Okay, so formulate that in this way. Thank you very much. Well, let's look at like what I could tell you about that. So the main aim here is the contrast of the verb forms. And the subsidiary aim is that, like, in the process of achieving this, the learners are going to do some reading practice, for example. And this is how I could formulate it for my like lesson plan in blank, where I'm going to explain the aims of my lesson. Okay, let's move on to another description. Have a look. Okay, and the questions are supposed to be just the same. What is the main aim? Thank you. One subsidiary aim, please. Thank you very much. And your formulation, a formal way to put it on the paper. Thank you. Okay, this is how I feel about this one. Have a look. Okay, guys, here we've looked at, like, teachers describing their lessons to you. What if we do not have a description of a lesson, but we have a material, like a page from a course book, for example, that we are supposed to be planning around? So let's practice this kind of attitude. So we have a material. Here it is. Again, I'm going to ask you some questions about that. What is the main aim? Thank you. What is a possible subsidiary aim? Thank you. Can you now classify the aims that you have mentioned as either a linguistic one or a communicative one or a skill-focused one? What do you think? What categories do your aims belong to? Thank you very much. Okay, this is how I feel about this. Okay, now let's take another material. This is it. Totally same questions. You can record your answer in just one bulk. Thank you. And these are my ideas. Okay, let's take another kind of material. Same questions. Thank you. Wait, have a closer look at that. Yeah, before you actually answer, have a closer look. Make up the idea of what this exercise is about. Okay, now to the questions. Please give me your answers. Thank you. And now what I think about it. Okay, we're almost done. Now, some time for reflection, a little bit of summarizing what we have been talking about, and it's not going to be a kind of test task in the end of our lecture, but just a little bit of thinking and sharing ideas. So we've got, imagine that you have a trainee and the person kind of, asks you to help, asks you for advice. So can you answer these trainee questions? We'll see the question, and the situation, the problem. And if you can't, what further information would you like to know from a trainee, for example, to be able to give your advice? So let's look at the problem, at Andrew's problem. Please try to answer this question. Thank you. Okay, another problem. Sophie has a problem today. Okay, now your advice. Thank you. And the last one is Sam. Please recommend something to Sam if you can, or ask him for further information. Thank you very much. Well, it looks like it's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for participating, for doing my exercises. I hope it was useful. I'm not sure it was particularly, interesting, like super interesting, but I hope that you've, got something practical, pragmatic from this lecture. And see you soon.